The man behind the diner counter has been refilling your coffee every Tuesday for 4 years. He knows your order by heart. He does not know you are sitting on $740 million. Nobody in this diner, this street, this city knows that number belongs to you. You exist here as a regular in a faded jacket, and that is exactly the point. It started 11 years ago with a storage facility nobody wanted. Not an app, not a startup, not anything with a mission statement. Just a row of orange metal doors off a county road in Tennessee. You were 28 years old and working as an assistant project manager for a construction firm. The job paid $51,000 a year and felt like something borrowed. You were not miserable exactly, more like quietly waiting for something you could not name yet. The listing had been sitting online for 7 months. The owner was 71, a retired postal worker with bad knees and no desire to drive out there anymore. 72 units, 62% occupancy, 0 online presence. You drove out there on a Saturday in November. The gate was rusted at the hinge. One padlock near the back was so old, the brass had turned green. You stood in that parking lot for 20 minutes just doing the math in your head. At full occupancy, 72 units at $90 a month per unit. That was $6,480 coming in monthly. At 62%, it was still close to $4,000. You had $31,000 in savings and a bank willing to cover the rest. You made the offer on Monday. They countered on Tuesday and accepted on Thursday. You did not tell your parents. You definitely did not tell your friends. Not because you were ashamed of what you were doing, because you had watched what happens when people announce things before those things have proven themselves. You needed this to be quiet first. The first year, the facility netted $38,000. You raised rents 12% and brought occupancy to 91% within 8 months. Hired one part-time attendant named Ray, who showed up reliably and asked very few questions. Year 2, a second facility in Kentucky. Year 3, a third one near Atlanta. You were still going to work every morning, still eating lunch at the same desk and sending the same emails. The job felt like a costume by then. Something you wore because removing it too early would attract questions you were not ready to answer. The boring stuff you understood by year 4 does not fail dramatically. Nobody writes a story about a storage facility running at 90% occupancy. It just sits there generating cash while everyone else is chasing whatever is currently shining. Here is what nobody tells you about real invisible money. The silence is not modesty. It is something much closer to armor. The moment people understand what you actually have, something shifts in their face. Not in a dramatic way, in the worst kind of way, which is completely subtle. You stop being a person and start being a resource. Your cousin's bar idea becomes your problem. Your childhood friend's underwater loan becomes a conversation he has been rehearsing for months. So you learn to disappear into plain sight. The car is a 2018 Subaru Forester with a crack in the rear bumper. You have not fixed it in 18 months, not because you have forgotten about it, not because you cannot afford to, because the crack tells people something about you that protects you better than any story could. The apartment is on the 3rd floor of a building with 12 mailboxes in the lobby. Clean, 2 bedrooms, quiet street. Your name is one of 12 on that wall, and nobody looks twice. Your best friend since college is a man named Jake, a genuinely good person in every way that actually matters. He coached his son's baseball team last spring and picks up the check when he can. He has been telling you for 4 years that he just needs one break to go his way. You know you could change his entire financial situation in under 60 seconds. A single wire transfer, and that conversation disappears permanently. You do not make the transfer, not because you do not care about him, because you learned what money does when it arrives before the preparation does. 6 years ago, you gave your former roommate Tom $45,000. He had a plan, and the kind of energy that makes plans feel inevitable. The money lasted 11 months. The friendship recovered eventually, but came back different, quieter, with a distance in it that had not been there before. Money does not fix preparation. It only accelerates whatever is already sitting underneath. So instead, you spent 3 weekends at Jake's kitchen table. You built him a simple budget spreadsheet right on his laptop. He did not know you had been running numbers like this since you were 28 years old. 2 weeks later, he texted you, said he had no idea how much was leaking out every single month. That is the whole thing. Small and slow and inconveniently real. You crossed $740 million in verified net assets on a Wednesday in September. Your accountant Lisa sent the reconciliation at 2:17 in the afternoon. The subject line said, Q3 net worth summary and nothing else. Lisa does not use exclamation points. You were in the waiting room of a tire shop on the west side. Your car needed 2 rear tires, regular wear from the miles. You were looking at a storage listing in Arizona on your phone. The owner was 63 years old and had listed the property twice in 3 years. You had been watching it for 6 weeks. The email arrived while you were calculating the cap rate in your head. You read the summary line once, then you read it again. $650 million in verified net assets. You set the phone face down on the plastic chair. A woman across the room was watching a talk show at full volume. A kid beside her was asleep with his mouth open. Nobody in that waiting room was looking at you. The shop smelled like rubber and burnt coffee. You did not feel what you expected to feel. No electricity, no release, no door swinging open somewhere. Just something quieter than all of that. Something slow and almost like recognition. Like a long nod from yourself across 11 years of decisions nobody photographed. You replied to Lisa with just 4 words. Looks right, thank you. The man at the counter called your name. 2 rear tires, $218. You paid cash and tipped the mechanic on the way out. In the car, you sat for a moment before starting the engine. 11 years ago, you drove out to a county road in Tennessee alone. You had $31,000 and a lot of uncertainty. The gate was rusted and the padlock was green. You stood in that parking lot thinking this might be the worst decision you had ever made. That version of you would not believe this number. Every boring Saturday was worth it. Then you turned the key and drove back the same road you came. Tuesday again. Same stool, same counter, same black coffee. The man behind the counter refills your cup without asking. He does not know you own 14 storage facilities across 5 states. He does not know your small parking structure 2 blocks north generates steady income every single day. He knows you take it black and that you tip well. That is all he needs to know. Your phone buzzes on the counter with a dashboard notification. 3 facilities collected monthly payments overnight. $43,000 deposited. No calls, no drama, no friction. You turn the phone face down. You pick up your coffee. Out the window, the city moves at its regular speed. Unhurried, indifferent, completely unaware of you. Somewhere out there, 14 different boring businesses are running without you right now. They don't know your name. You are nobody to them. And that, quietly, is the whole architecture. That is everything.